Hey, welcome back to another Take 5. In this video, I'm going to talk about the rest of the blueprint window here. And in the next couple videos, I think I'm going to be doing functions and macros. So for this video, mostly I'm just going to be describing what these buttons up here do and going over this stuff on the right side here. Um, you've got your viewport. These are the different tabs. Construction script. This is a blueprint graph that will do anything that you put in here is going to happen as soon as you compile it. So if you wanted to change the color of something with a material, and you wanted that material to take that, you wanted that change to take effect immediately before runtime, you would do that inside of the construction script here. And then of course there was the event graph that we saw earlier. So up here we've got compile, which you can do a couple different options. You can save on compile. You can um, if you want to, or you can never save on compile or on success only, things like that. You don't have to use that. But you can compile, and then you can save this asset specifically. Browse, I don't usually use this button. I know where things are. I go to my content browser when I want to get stuff. There's find, when you want to find something. You can go down here and search for references. You can search for variables, anything that's going to be inside this blueprint. And then if it's not in this blueprint, if you were trying to find a reference that's somewhere else, you could use the binoculars down here. That would take you to a window that actually would be pop up, and it'll have all the references from that are in the entire project. So if that was this integer and we were using it somewhere else, it would show up. It would show up in that window there. So um, hold on one second. So basically, Um, the next thing we have here is the class settings, and the class settings are going to tell you what kind of actor this is, or what kind of what kind of blueprint class this is. So if this is your parent class, so like it's an actor, and if we wanted to reparent this, we could easily click on something and make this an ambient sound and change it entirely into something else. So it would inherit from an ambient sound rather than actor. Now, if you do that when you've got a lot of blueprints going on and things that are using the actor's previous functions or variables that it had, um, it could cause a lot of problems. So you don't want to be putting a lot of blueprint together and then reparenting. It's better to just start a new blueprint and just create a separate one if you're going to do that. Don't reparent once you've got a lot of stuff going on. You'll just cause yourself headaches. Down here, there's some other settings. I'm not going to really go over that. It doesn't really matter. And this setting is for some stuff that's more advanced. But basically, these are just some extra little settings that you're going to learn later on in other videos. Then we have our class defaults, which this is where all of the variables are going to be displayed if you have this actor out in the world and you click on it. Your class details here are going to be listed out in on the side panel there, and it's going to display any of the variables that are marked here as public. So anything that's marked with this I is going to be public, and that's going to be displayed over on the side panel in the actual editor window. Later on, I'll probably end up explaining that a little bit better. But so, and then down on the side here, there's going to be a lot of other information regarding this specific class, like replication, rendering, input. When you click on things like a cube, this is a static mesh component, and a static mesh component has its own details, and everything has its own details. Like the light is going to have its own details, its intensity, its color, all these things. The trigger box is going to have its own details. So if we were to click on the cube again, you're going to see that it has a static mesh. It's also going to have a material here that you can change, and physics, collision, lighting, rendering, all these things, as well as function overrides or event overrides, not function overrides. These are event overrides, and I'm going to talk about events in one of the next videos here. Event overrides basically allow you to use them and override them to do something specific when that event happens or is called. And also they're going to have the transform. So a lot of these objects are going to have transforms. Some components don't allow you to have transforms. It just depends on the class. Then we've got the simulation button, which allows you to simulate the blueprint functionality. which is not entirely, um, it's not always useful. Sometimes it is. I don't always use it. I use it sometimes. And then we've got play, which allows you to play in the different settings. You can pick from current camera location or default player start if you have a player start in a world. And there's some other settings down here. We're just not going to talk about those right now. So that's basically that. And that that's yeah, that's pretty much the whole blueprint area. Maybe one more thing: the compiler, when it has errors, it's going to show up down here. If you're compiling something and it has an issue, it's going to tell you down here and it's going to pop up. So I think that's pretty much it for that. I'm going to move into the next video that's going to be events and then functions. I'll see you guys there.